Yo guys, Thirsty Gogeta back at it again, and today we are going to be looking over just like theories about the Ghidorah species and possibly other monsters that might show up in the Monsterverse. Now, um, if you haven't noticed, Toho monsters like started really showing up into the Monsterverse after the 2019 movie. That being Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, and then in Godzilla vs Kong, it was Mecha Godzilla. Now, in the novel, actually, to keep on going with that Toho monster thing, um, I would like to know if they Michael Dougherty built up Destroya rather well. He built up for Destroya because the Oxygen Destroyer was put into the MonsterVerse, and it had hit Godzilla and Ghidorah, which are good, like two good power sources of DNA, to mesh together with that Oxygen Destroyer energy for Destroya to basically come to be, which would explain like the Godzilla-esque body and then the wings. So honestly, I'd hack. That theory sounds pretty sound, and with how they've already got the weird pseudoscience put into Godzilla, Godzilla versus Kong now, it would make sense for it to be in possibly the Godzilla movies, MonsterVerse movies after this Godzilla X Kong movie. And it would make a lot of sense for that to happen and for Godzilla to realize, and like, to keep on playing his like alpha role and for Kong to get involved and possibly other monsters. So, something that would sound pretty interesting is that Destroyer going around killing other monsters and then possibly Godzilla, like in the process of all that happening, find an offspring, and results in a fight, which possibly gets Godzilla killed, maybe, or like in another way, Godzilla doesn't get killed, and just gives the throne to his son, or if he does end up dying, then all that power and radiation will go into the little guy, and Kong will basically be there to kind of be a mentor of sorts. Would be pretty interesting. Other Godzilla monsters that would make sense is now Biolante. I mean, with how nature oriented the MonsterVerse is, her fitting in wouldn't actually be all that bad. Um, Now, they would probably have to change up the origins a little bit. Now, I don't know how exactly they could do that, but I'm sure Hollow Earth energy and just like overall the plants being very different in the Hollow Earth, and then her bursting out of the ground and basically trying to like terraform Earth, and then Godzilla having to stop her, that would make pretty good sense. And Mecha King Ghidorah, I think that would be too much of a stretch. They've already kind of used Ghidorah in a mecha because, well, Mecha Godzilla in Godzilla vs Kong was already just that. He was King Ghidorah's skulls used for the mecha, and then Gigan. I don't know. That's if they introduce like alien species outside of like monsters, like actual other alien like species that are more related to us. And they decided to use like alien technology and like monster biology from our planet and make Gigan. But I think that's like with the pseudoscience, like I know the MonsterVerse already has enough pseudoscience, but it's rather tame compared to other Godzilla media, especially like the 1998 Godzilla series. Like that was probably as nature oriented, but as crazily like as freaking batshit insane uh, pseudoscience it can go, because you had like you had Cyber Godzilla show up and everything like that, and aliens and whatnot. Now I'm pretty sure Adam Wingard, Michael Dougherty, and that team could probably find a way for it to work where it's not too batshit insane. But either way, just like all this pseudoscience and everything is already batshit insane. So Gigan already is just like he's a weird fucking monster, so I don't know how exactly he would fit in the MonsterVerse. Um, if he were in the Pacific Rim movies, like that little cameo that him and Batra and possibly other Godzilla kaiju showed up in Pacific Rim, I'd see him fitting in there with how crazy those kaiju were. I'd definitely see him fitting in there. Or they use that weird Pacific Rim like conceptual like monsters and bring that concept into the MonsterVerse for just Gigan himself. That would be pretty interesting. Then Space Godzilla, there was this part in the novel where Gia was talking to, I forgot her name, but she was talking to basically her, I guess we could just call her mom at this point because that lady basically brought her in as her own, and everything like that. And Gia was talking about how a Godzilla had swallowed a star. Now, I think that is a perfect segue for Space Godzilla. Like, it's not exact. Like, a power source from freaking space showed up on the shores of Earth, and then one Godzilla was just like, more. Like, freaking Virgil, just like, I need more power. And then just freaking, just like, I guess consumes the damn asteroid or whatever the hell, and then becomes, well, Space Godzilla, and then grants him the ability to kind of like levitate and shit like that, like the concept art of the throne room for Godzilla versus Kong. Like it depicted like a flying Godzilla just flying above the. It was like a cave painting of a flying Godzilla just flying over Kongs and Godzillas alike, and like Kongs were like looking into the air, throwing their axes and shit, and Godzilla species were looking in the air, shooting their atomic breath. Which showing that origin story would be pretty interesting in further Godzilla movies or MonsterVerse movies. I need to stop saying like Godzilla movies, like a MonsterVerse movie, since it's just not just Godzilla's shit; it's also Kong's. So. Showing that would be pretty interesting, and just showing more showing more of the Godzilla and Kong war would be pretty freaking interesting. So yeah, that I think Adam Wingard, yeah, I think you should have just kept that throne room in there, and then just like one person pointing it out, like, is that a flying Godzilla? And like, man, that is pretty weird. And then just like the theories galore will just start, and then you just left a perfect segue for a Space Godzilla. I'm just saying, you should have just left that in there. Bagon, I think he was a mixture between Godzilla and Ghidorah's DNA, or possibly other monsters. I've already said enough about like gene splicing with this guy. I think that would just be repetitive for Bagon, but I'm pretty sure they could possibly like come up with a new story or something like that, but I don't know. Now, now we can talk about the Ghidorah stuff. Now, Kaiser Ghidorah and these possible other Ghidorahs that might come to be. So, in the Godzilla 2019 novel, they were talking about how Ghidorah was a younger son and couldn't inherit territory, so that's why he came to Earth to claim this as his own territory. And then Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan showed him what for, or Rodan's possible ancestors. And because we also like heard a theory of just Rodan also being a young guy, and his egg hatching in that volcano in Isla de Mara that showed. And so possibly Rodan's ancestor helped Godzilla and Mothra fight Ghidorah and put him and encased him in that ice. Now, I think saying that Ghidorah himself was a younger son and couldn't claim territory anywhere else, I think seeing other Ghidorahs would be pretty interesting. It would be pretty fucking cool. Like this fucking green alien, more alien-looking Ghidorah, like just claiming Venus or some shit. I don't know, but it would just be awesome to see that, like all these other Ghidorah species. Now, I know the Ghidorah saga has been like kind of overused already to what people think, But seeing a proper segue like used to introduce Kaiser Ghidorah, I think that was a I think for movies like this, like movies in general, they'll use the original script for the novels. And so somewhere in the original script, they were planning on like that scene, like a certain scene in the movie, talking about how Ghidorah was a younger son, and seeing Kaiser Ghidorah be like an like an alpha Ghidorah, or just like being like the top dog of Ghidorah's, like basically King Ghidorah's father. I think that would be pretty interesting. Now, how they would execute this, like, just not to be a pure copy of 2019, just like Ghidorah coming to Earth, trying to claim it once again. Like, I think it should be somewhat stylized in Final Wars. Now, not as, like, crazy as Final Wars, and just, like, freaking Godzilla going on a world tour and everything like that. I think it should. I think Kaiser Ghidorah should like try to basically pull a Frieza and conquer the entire freaking galaxy, and and just have Earth be one of those other planets, and then him trying to like make the Ghidorah species like basically multiply, and then Godzilla, Kong, and the other Titans trying to stop that. So I think that is another possible good storyline that they could use in the Monsterverse. Other than that, I'm pretty sure I probably gone over this, but I didn't like get too balls deep into it, like I just did in this video. Um, Other than that, I just can't wait for this new Godzilla X Kong movie. And also Godzilla Minus One. Really looking forward to that. It's only a couple months away, and it's gonna be on December 1st of this year, and it's gonna be worldwide. It's not gonna just be in Japan, and then like couple months later, it's just gonna show up on like everywhere else, and then be there for like a couple days, because that usually what happens. What happens to anime movies is exactly just what I just said. It shows up like a month and a half or two month like after the original Japan release, and then just freaking stays there for a couple days and then just leaves. Because that's what happened with Dragon Ball Super Broly, even though that movie was absolutely amazing. Like, critics and fans liked it. But I really hope that does not happen to Godzilla Minus One. Like, not the critical part, but not just the staying there for just a couple days. I'm just saying. Other than that, I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe for more of me. And this has been Thirsty Gogeta, signing out. Peace.